Imagine this, you're in a negotiation. The other person throws out a number. You don't react. Seconds pass. Then a minute. The silence stretches thick and heavy. And then they crack. They lower their offer. They reveal their desperation. They hand you the win without you saying a single word. This is the power of silence. Machiavelli knew something most people don't. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. Real power doesn't scream. It doesn't argue. It doesn't rush to fill the empty space with noise. True power waits. It listens. It lets silence do the heavy lifting. We live in a world obsessed with being heard. Social media, meetings, arguments, everyone's fighting to speak, to prove, to convince. But Machiavelli saw through this centuries ago. In The Prince, he wrote that the smartest leaders reveal nothing. They speak only when it serves them. Every word is calculated. Every silence is a weapon. There's a strange thing that happens when you stay silent in a conversation. People start confessing. They backtrack. They over-explain. They panic. Why? Because silence is a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum, especially human nature. Most people are terrified of dead air. It makes them feel judged, exposed, like they're failing some unspoken social test. So they rush to fill it, and in that rush, they give you everything. Machiavelli called this letting the enemy hang themselves with their own rope. When you stop talking, people assume you know something they don't. They assume you're calculating. They assume you have the upper hand. And in their desperation to regain control, they start talking, revealing secrets, lowering their demands, even apologizing for things they didn't do. Picture two leaders. The first talks constantly, giving orders, sharing opinions, filling every silence with their voice. The second speaks rarely, only when necessary. Their words are measured. Their silence is deliberate. Who do you instinctively trust more? Who seems more in control? Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. True authority doesn't come from volume, it comes from restraint. The loudest person in the room is often the least powerful. They're compensating. They're begging for validation. But the silent one, they don't need to prove anything. Their power is assumed. History's greatest military strategists all shared one rule: never reveal your next move. Sun Tzu called it appearing weak when you are strong. Machiavelli framed it as the wise prince never announces his intentions. But in everyday life, we do the opposite. We explain ourselves. We justify. We rush to respond. And in doing so, we lose before the battle even begins. Here's the brutal truth. Whoever speaks first in a conflict surrenders the advantage. Most people can't handle silence. Their palms sweat. Their pulse races. They'll say anything to make it stop. And that's your advantage. Machiavelli didn't just understand silence. He weaponized it. But this skill isn't innate. It's trained. First, become comfortable with discomfort. Stop fearing the pause. Modern life has conditioned us to treat silence like failure. Awkward gaps in conversation, unanswered texts, delayed replies. We panic. We fill voids with nervous chatter. But true power sits patiently in that discomfort. Second, make silence your default. Most people speak first, then think. Reverse it. Before any important conversation, ask yourself, what happens if I say nothing right now? You'll realize 80% of what you were going to say was unnecessary. Machiavelli warned that every word is a liability. The less you offer, the less they can use against you. Third, use silence as a probe. When you want information, ask a direct question, then stop. Not for a second. Not for 3. Wait until the other person breaks. They'll interpret your silence as skepticism, disapproval, or hidden knowledge. And in their rush to correct your perception, they'll overshare. Machiavelli's greatest lesson wasn't about manipulation. It was about self-mastery. Anyone can yell. Anyone can argue. But controlling your words? That's true power. So here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, speak only when necessary. Not out of shyness, out of strategy. Notice how people lean in when you do talk. Notice how your words carry weight. Notice how much you learn by saying nothing. Because in the end, silence isn't just a tactic. is the signature of those who win. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. When has silence worked in your favor? Drop a comment below. And if you want more deep dives into psychology and power, subscribe. More strategic content coming soon.